There's really not a lot of things that can turn the entire YouTube community against you. You might anger one group of people, but usually you'll still have someone taking your corner. The exception to that is false copyright claims. You see, YouTube's copyright system is incredibly easy to abuse, and since YouTube is very hands-off when it comes to copyright, the only thing standing between creators unjustly claiming other creators' videos, knowing the other creator probably won't have the funds to pursue the issue legally, is a social contract. It's a social contract that every creator, big or small, agrees to, no matter their genre, their politics, or their personal opinion. YouTubers don't copyright claim other YouTubers. Even more so, YouTubers don't falsely copyright claim other YouTubers. But every so often there is a creator who decides they don't want anyone else to benefit from the system that let them get big. They decide to take those holes in the YouTube copyright system and open them up as wide as possible. Whether it's for greed or to watch the world burn, they decide on the nuclear option. It seems like Adin is one of the latest creators to decide to go nuclear. But fortunately for us, going nuclear has consequences, mutually assured destruction. So what exactly happened? Well, it seems like this may have been going on for a while, but one creator brought it to the forefront. A channel called Internet Anarchist tweeted this out. I just lost $8,000 from Adin false claiming my video about the Penguin Zero versus Sneeko situation. He followed that tweet with, the claim was received on my video, Sneeko's horrible response to Penguin Zero, where I used a stream clip of Adin interviewing Sneeko. It was used under fair use grounds and a tiny part of my long video. The revenue from this video was almost life-changing money for me. Followed by, it was one of my most successful videos. It's a huge shame to have the fruits of my labor taken away from me all of a sudden, especially by someone who literally gets paid tens of millions to gamble in front of kids. So basically he came out with the claim that Adin had copyright claimed his video. What does that mean? Well, YouTube has a few tiers of copyright enforcement on its back end, pretty much all as a result of and attempt to avoid lawsuits from big media companies like Viacom. And they are designed to make it as easy as possible for the copyright owner, the person claiming to have ownership of material used in a video that they want to take action on, rightfully or not so. There's really only two major tiers that really matter. There's a copyright claim and a copyright strike. A copyright strike is a direct takedown of your video from YouTube, usually reserved for only the most major of infractions. 3 copyright strikes and they take down your YouTube channel. A copyright claim is when a company/individual claims that they have ownership of the content you uploaded, but they're perfectly happy to leave it in place, so long as all the money made from the video goes to them instead of the creator. These don't directly affect your channel's standing, just a momentary hit as you lose income, though some people argue that having copyright claims can hurt you in the YouTube algorithm. YouTube claims that isn't true though. In this case, it looks like Adin or rather a company claiming to represent him, allegedly Thumb Media, put the claim on Internet Anarchist's video, taking the money earned through ads on the video away from Internet Anarchist. You see, it's not really YouTube's fault, but rather the way the legal system has structured copyright law. It really favors whoever is claiming to own the content. YouTube allowing claims rather than just striking everything claimed by others is actually a really lenient and good step, but it's not without problems. You see, you can legally use materials copyrighted by others in your own content without it being eligible for the original copyright holder to take action against you. But the new work you've created has to be fair use. Fair use is a legal term used to describe something being judged as different enough from the content used in its creation using a test designed by courts. There are 4 major factors in fair use: the purpose and character of the material used, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount of the portion used, the effect of the use on the potential market for or value of the work. Now I should mention this is all very complicated and I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a Minecraft jumping dude who has a decent understanding of the law. But no one factor of these can determine if something is fair use. You have to consider all of them. Most importantly, the problem with the way fair use protections are structured is that it's not up to you, the creator, as to whether or not something is fair use. Certainly you can have your opinion, but the only person who can truly decide if something is fair use or not is a judge. Since fair use as a protection arose as a judicial doctrine from the way that the courts interpret copyright law, and is not explicitly in the law itself, but rather a natural conclusion of the way the law is written. The only way to truly tell if something is fair use is to go to court. Now, I explain all that to you because you need some understanding of how the law works in order to understand why YouTube's policies are the way they are. Basically, once a claim has been issued on your video, YouTube gives the creator the option to appeal. The alleged copyright owner, who filed the claim in the first place, then reviews your dispute. The dispute is where you put forth your argument as to why you feel the claim is invalid. Presumably, if you felt your video was fair use, you proclaim it here. In this particular case, there are two things that can happen. The copyright owner can agree that your video might constitute fair use, in which case they probably don't want to have to deal with a lawsuit that they think they will lose and release the claim. The alternative is that they can, at their discretion, decide your appeal isn't good enough and keep it in place. At that point, your only recourse is to sue, explain to the court why your video is fair use, and then hope they agree with you. So of course, when a creator the size of Adin takes on the creator the size of Internet Anarchist, they're doing it because they know that even if the Internet Anarchist's claim of fair use are true, they can use the US legal system to bankrupt Internet Anarchist before his case would ever get decided. Lawyers are expensive, so usually claims like this stay in place. Fortunately for Internet Anarchist though, his tweets made their way to a few top streamers who commented on it. At least one of them said that he would pay for lawyers for people to sue Adin over their claims that their videos were fair use. It turns out that Adin, or whoever was making the claims on his behalf, did not like the heat, likely because they knew that a lot of the legal claims, including Internet Anarchists, stood a fairly decent chance at winning should any lawsuit ever get filed. And suddenly, as if by magic, now that the possibility of enforcing Adin's tyranny using the threat of bankruptcy had elapsed, the claims began to be dropped one by one. So many claims were dropped that Adin was literally trending on Twitter. It took the full force of the community to back up these creators. Obviously, the community felt that these creators' videos did in fact fall under fair use of Adin's materials, hence how far they were willing to go to help people like Internet Anarchists. It's not an easy thing to turn the entire community against you, but it seems like hiding behind the copyright system, knowingly using the cost of legal fees to enforce your likely bogus claims, and then bragging about it, which he did by the way on his stream, will really get on people's nerves. Creators who do this are the worst. The only place this is acceptable is if someone is just straight up re-uploading your content on its own. Otherwise, you're gonna be breaking the social contract, and that comes with consequences. At the end of the day, copyright law is incredibly complicated. Hopefully the backlash he received will help stop others from abusing the system in the future. But so far, it doesn't seem like it. There's already another situation going on with the channel Magnets Media, whose entire channel is facing deletion because of another creator using the copyright strikes on his videos. I might make a video on that as well, but time will tell. The sad fact is that this kind of thing has happened since the beginning of YouTube, and they've never really done much to stop it. And it's not really entirely their fault. If they misstep on copyright enforcement, it could cost them millions. At one point, YouTube was sued by Viacom in a lawsuit that would have completely bankrupted YouTube if they'd lost. Fortunately, they won on a technicality. It probably does not help that a lot of live streamers push everything into murky water. How often do you see reaction videos on YouTube that consist of a streamer watching a video in its entirety and not even adding anything? I've seen cases where the reactor walked away to make food while the video is playing, or even streamers who will sleep on stream while their chat watches videos on their stream. There's an extremely valid argument that can be made that those videos are not protected under fair use, since they use the entirety of the video, serve as a substitution of it in its original market, etc. So there are a few channels that will probably validly claim their videos like that, slowly eroding the social contract by making it acceptable to claim certain videos in certain situations, even if you are both creators. Of course, at the end of the day, eventually a court will rule on these kinds of things and will know one way or the other. The problem is that you never know how a court will rule until they do. And if something like a reaction video made its way to a high court, it could change the internet as we know it. Fair use was given to us by the courts. It can be taken away by them as well. Anyway, I think I went a little further into how copyright actually works than a lot of creators would in this video. I hope you enjoyed. Personally, I see a lot of very bad takes on fair use all the time, even from other creators who have no idea what they're talking about. Since most YouTube channels, even my own, exist based solely on fair use doctrine, I think it's a pretty important thing to have at least a little understanding of. Well, anyway, let me know what you think of the whole Adin situation in the comments. Have a great day, and God bless you.